I make mainly masculine objects, or things that people associate with masculinity, and I make them with something that's considered a feminine craft. So I'm making tools, I'm making pipes, I'm making things that are a little more violent, like explosives and weapons. I do mainly crocheted sculptures, and I embroider a little bit, and I knit, and I've just taken up tatting. So my materials and medium run the gamut of fiber art. I'm making masculine objects with a feminine process because I'm hoping that people start to think about gender permissions and gender roles in our society. I mean, why is it that I can do something and it's socially acceptable, but a woman couldn't do the same thing, or vice versa? There's a lot of questions around that. Is it innate? Is it something that we're taught? Is it something physical? Is it just based on the fact that men are bigger, that they're stronger and therefore more powerful? Or is it that we teach men to grow up and be rough and tumble, and we try to teach women to be more vulnerable and quiet and tender? So I'm hoping that people start to think about those issues and those ideas when they look at my art. That little moment where your mind connects the fact that this is made out of crochet and is somehow softer and a little more intimate than you really had imagined. I think that's the moment that I'm really looking for when people view my art. So I started recently working in more kind of weaponry, or things that express power, because I feel like masculinity is a lot about projecting power and kind of suppressing vulnerability, so that people around you can't see that you are actually vulnerable. And so I've taken to making these explosives, or things that are really extremely powerful. I've been making most of the pieces on the public transportation, so planes, trains, buses, things like that, and it has elicited some very interesting conversations. I don't generally take a piece like this on the train, just because I feel like I would probably get arrested, but I make the tubes and I make each thing separately, and when people ask me, what are you making, then I can say, well, I'm making some dynamite, and have a whole interesting conversation with them about my artwork, which is great. The Superman cape was inspired by a memory I had as a child where I asked my mom for a Superman cape, and she went into the kitchen, got her apron, came back and tied it around my neck. So the Superman cape is part apron, part cape for that very reason, because it reminds me of that memory of when I was a kid and I really wanted to be like a superhero. Protected, and we're not vulnerable, but we're powerful. I love being at the Museum of Arts and Design and working in the Open Studio. I get to talk to so many different people. We talk and they share stories about their childhood or about their connection with a certain object. It gives me a new sense of what they are, because I carry a personal meaning with each of the individual objects, but it's really nice to hear what other people bring to the table and how my artwork affects them. It's just an incredible experience.